I am about to make up some more electrodes for my ion foot cleanse device, so I want to show you how I'm doing this. This is stainless steel that I have cut out at the local metal supply store in my town. I don't know if this is 10 gauge or 12. I get it as thick as possible where I can still bend it over in the vise and get that 90-degree turn to it. I have to clamp it in at the 6-inch mark and then bang it down with a hammer and get it to bend over. And when they stamp it out, they use the shear on it. You can see it gets kind of kitty-wampus there, so I do have to spend some time at the vise straightening out that angle so it's straight. But the design is 3/4 inch wide, a foot long, 6 inches. I bend it over at 90 degrees, so it goes in like this. Here's one that's completed. The plates have to be 1/4 inch apart. The easiest spacers I have found is actually to get shims, synthetic shims like this from Home Depot or Lowe's, because this end here is 1/4 inch. So you can take 3/4 inches of it and just snip it off with a pair of shears to get the 1/4 inch. Cut it off with the shears and then cut it in half, and then you get things like this, what are 1/4 inch thick. Or you can get gaskets, sink gaskets, and double them up. Those also work to give you a 1/4 inch gap that you can put between the two electrodes here. And the design of this being symmetrical, 6 inches by 6 inches, is done for a reason. So you get double life off of it, because this is a sacrificial electrode. This will corrode completely. And so what you want to do is you want to put the spacers between them and use it until they start to corrode on there. And you can then, once these get bad, I mean about 1/4 of the way down, then what you do is you separate them. You cut the black tape that you have there, and you invert these. This would be the corroded part, and you would turn it like this, so the corroded part would be up. And you take that one, the corroded part is here, so you would turn that the other way, so that the corroded part would then be up. And so that way you get double life off of it. This here is a good example of this. This is one that was corroded, the bottom part corroded, and you can see then I cut it, separated it here, and then inverted it. And you can see how the corrosion works on this one. How much of that is chewed up. That's about how much, that's about when you want to flip it. Somebody wasn't paying attention with this one, and the other electrode, both of them were corroding, but one of them was really corroding. Look at that. It corroded completely through. And so I couldn't use it like I'd use the other one. So what I did is I actually doubled these up, because I didn't want to throw away this material. It was still good. So I doubled it up with the other corroded one. So it actually works as a protector. So it's protecting the one plate. And then this one here is acting like the sacrificial plate. And of course I have a brand new piece up here. And so that's why it's made. It actually, you can get double life out of these. One thing that's important on this is how you tape up the ends. You can see here it looks like I just threw tape on there, but there's a little secret to it, in that the bottom electrode, the end of it is taped off on both of these. And the reason for this is, if you look at this, the current, when you put this under the water, if that end of this is not taped off, it will actually cause corrosion to occur here and will actually chew all the way through that electrode. So there's two ways you can deal with that. You can put tape around this electrode to protect it from this one. I found the easiest thing is actually to tape off the end of this one, and also to tape off the end of this one, so you don't get any stray currents that are slicing your electrodes in half. And then I tape around to hold the spacers in place, and let me show you how I do this. Taping off the ends is really easy. Just get electrical tape and put it crosswise over the end of the electrodes like this, because we're going to be wrapping around it, and that will seal off the end of the electrode. And we'll do the other one. There we go. The next thing we do is we take electrical tape and we run a few rounds this way. So here I made a couple laps with the black tape around this way. Now the interesting thing that you do here is you take your spacer, and I put it in so that the material is, the 1/4 inch is going crosswise, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to tape this onto the steel. But the important thing is that one goes on this side of the steel, the other one goes on the other side of the steel, like that. And you can see these are both lined up together so that one would go up and then one would go down. And then I'm going to run a little bit of tape around that to hold those in place. Okay, so I have those taped up. You can see the spacers are in there, taped onto the stainless steel. Still got the same angle of the curve. One is on the upside, one is on the downside. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and flip it over like this, so that the one with the downside is spacing the one with the upside. You can see how that works. And you repeat the same process when you invert them. When you invert them, you cut them loose, flip them over, and tape them up like you do normally. And now I'm going to take and run tape around that to hold these two plates together. And there you have it. Another set of electrodes already made, ready to work. And so when they start looking corroded on the bottom, when they start looking like this, then you take and cut these loose, invert the plates, and wrap them up the same as you did before. And you can see how well that preserves the ends of them so that your clamps, your electrical connections will work on those. And to use these, what we do about twice a week, put these in a basin like this. This is just a normal sink tub, and fill it halfway to 2/3 full of warm water in there. Put about 1/2 to 1 teaspoon of salt in there, and put your feet in there. Now for the power supply, we use 12-volt battery chargers or converters. And I found that a battery charger that has a computer in it, if it says that it's a maintainer, or it has any names like that, that will not work. We use old style Schumacher battery chargers that say manual on them, because they don't have computers in them. For some reason this confuses computers inside of chargers, but a converter does not have the computers in it that are messed up by it, so converters will work. But we like to have at least 1 to 5 amp output and stay about 12 volts. Some people will use the converters that you use for laptops as the power supply, but they change it to 20 volts. To me, 20 volts is too much. It makes the erosion occur too fast, and so I like to keep it down to about 12 volts. But anyhow, doing this about twice a week, about half an hour each time, electromagnetic currents form in there and some other weird physics that draw toxins out of the body and onto the electrodes, and the toxins will flake off, and you'll see weird flakes, and it'll change the color of the water as the minerals come out of suspension of the water. And some of the brownish color you'll see is actually natural from the water. A lot of it's going to actually be toxins coming out of your body, but only twice a week, because it also pulls oils out of your feet and legs, and you don't want to do it too much. It'll also pull iron out of your body, so it's good to have a lot of iron or iron supplements when you're doing these. But there we go.